When Kamish talked about, he's not sure that Contreras was all that. The best spot for him in Chicago was batting fifth, and I had no recall one way or the other about that, so I wanted to because this is getting so much scrutiny, about him batting fifth, and I know that most people are being genuine; they're not being haters when they say, "Well, try something else if this keeps up." I'm more patient than most, I guess, and I don't want any credit for that because sometimes you can be overly patient. But, when you see a guy that has had 2,800 plate appearances in the big leagues and is the best from 2016 through 22, is best hitting catcher in the majors, and that's a fact, not an opinion, I'm just kind of reluctant to shake things up so early in the season because he'll come through. I'm confident in him. I don't have any freak out factor. As for how he's been in a batting fifth in the lineup during his career, and that includes this year, by the way. Contreras, we're talking 650 at bats as a number 5 hitter. So he's got 770 plate appearances, but 650 of those have been at bats. Don't include the walks and all that. I don't know. 182 games as a fifth place hitter in his career, and he batted fifth more often in Chicago. Like in terms of that was like the lineup spot you would find him in at the most. So in 182 games batting fifth, including this year for the Cardinals. 268 average, which is really good by today's standards, but he had a 375 on base percentage, which is outstanding. And we saw reasons why, like last night, because Willson Contreras has always drawn walks, and he's always had a really good on base percentage. So anyway, 268 batting average, 375 on base, 472 slugging percentage, OPS right around 850, 37 doubles, 28 homers, 85 runs batted in. So I think he's been comfortable batting there. This is nothing new for him. In fact, it's quite familiar to him, except for he's playing for a different team now. And he's played 12 games of a 162-game season. So again, I'm not inclined to make any changes right now. And if you do, like the commission said, maybe second. But again, I don't see the rush on that either. I mean, Nootbaar will be back, and I would think Ollie, against right-handed pitching is going to want to have Donovan and Nootbaar back to back. But maybe after a while you'd try Contreras at second. So anyway, I'm not trying to be stubborn about this. I'm just saying there's no freak out factor with me after 12 games, which is what he's played. None. So that's all. Just wanted to update that. And by the way, I apologize. I made an error yesterday because as I was going through my screen and looking at StatCast stuff late in the show, I mentioned how Contreras actually was hitting the ball harder this year than he did for the Cubs last year. And that's not true, but it was an honest mistake. So he needs to hit the ball harder. And what he needs more than anything, a little boost of confidence. I thought his at-bats last night were really good. But again, I'm not. Dude's got 46 plate appearances, and it's April the 14th, so I don't know. Just don't see. I don't understand the panic. But people mean well. They just want to see him get going, and they think that maybe that would help him. I don't really see that. It's been a very, very strong spot for him in the lineup during his entire major league career.
There was, like I said, 2 walks last night. When you're patient enough to start taking walks, it tells you you're battling through some at bats. You're seeing the ball much better. Or better, I should say, than he was. So I think that would give you the hint that it's about to change for the good.
Right.
So we'll hopefully he can get to Oviedo tonight. Oviedo was good in his last time out, but can he be consistent? He couldn't here in St. Louis, so we'll see.
I think he'll be, I don't think he's a big strikeout guy. So, the Cardinals need to, I don't know what the term is, they just need to be alert to some things, And they really do need to take some pitches because we know, and I haven't looked up what he's done this year. He hadn't pitched all that much.
Right.
In terms of, he had a horrendous problem walking hitters when he was a Cardinal. And after a while, you lose patience with him because it went on for quite a while, and you just couldn't have all those walks all the time. And so I'm sure the Cardinals will be trying to work the counts and all that. Well, they better, or they're really stupid if they don't. So we'll see what happens, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And, that goes to what we were talking yesterday about Brendan Donovan. He's got to work the counts a little bit more, and you get those two guys going, getting on base. Eventually, that hit's going to come. We saw it the other night with Nolan Arenado. He finally came through, but the rest of these guys are going to start hitting in those situations with runners in scoring position. It won't be this bad for a long time. It'll even itself out.
From an offensive standpoint, I hate to oversimplify it, but it really, really, really is true. The Cardinals don't have a problem with batting average. They rank way up there. I think third in the majors. They have a really good on-base percentage, which is, ranking way up there in the majors, and I think maybe second in the National League. Their slugging percentage in the National League is maybe, I think, top 5. I mean, their numbers just in regular at-bats and all that are really, really good. There's nothing you'd like to see a few more home runs, but this is a really good offense. But it's been brought down by a glaring weakness so far, and I think this will change because these guys are they're good hitters. And I think this is one of these phases that every team goes through. What's prevented them from becoming a great offense so far, because all the things are there for the recipe except for hitting with runners in scoring position. And they got hot there for a couple days in Colorado doing that. Maybe they got hot when they played Milwaukee, the game they won. But I'll shut up about that. Let's just get to the point, Miklasz. All right. So far this season, and last night, by the way, just a reminder, the Cardinals are 0 for 9 with runners in scoring position. They left 10 on base. They had a chance to break through, and if they had broken through, they probably win the game before it gets to 5-0 or a 5-0 score. So this batting average in runners in scoring position going into tonight, 238, which ranks 25th overall, 12th in the National League. On-base percentage, 317, 24th overall, 11th in the National League. Slugging, terrible, 324, which is 26th overall, 13th in the NL. That's with runners in scoring position. The OPS, 26 overall, 13th in the National League. They also have a high strikeout rate with runners in scoring position. They do not have a high strikeout rate overall. And in the fancy pants stat that I use and is actually really common, it's nothing that great, wild, and crazy. I'll just give you the bottom line on that, though. When they are up with runners in scoring position, they're 22% below the league average in their performance. And I think that just tells us a lot, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I was just doing a quick glance at last night's box score because it felt like there was traffic. And I know Nolan Gorman didn't come through last night, but he's come through the 2 previous nights. So guess what? He's going to be better more times than not. I didn't realize
done well.
I didn't realize they had 19 runners left on base in that game.
Last night, I think it was 10.
They got it as 19 here.
Well, if that's MLB.com, they calculate it in a different way.
Okay.
I don't know why.
I was just going by their box score. I thought that I don't remember it, but it was like that's still high. 10's still high even.
Well, it is,
you know, and that's not going to happen every night. They're going to come through it at some point.
The Cardinals have left more runners on base than any team in the National League, and I believe they're third overall, like leaving runners on base. I mean, it's just that speaks for itself right there, right?
Yes. Yeah, they're going to have a breakthrough. It might be tonight. It might be one of these games this weekend. I really think they're going to have the breakthrough. Then they got to just pitch better.
Yeah, because if you look at their overall offense. Okay, remember what did I just say? They're 22% below the league average, league as in the entire major leagues. 22% with runners in scoring position. They're minus 22% in that category. But you know what they are? Just batting overall, they're 13% above the league average. The Cardinals, 5th best in the majors. But you get into the runners in scoring position stuff, and they're down like 25th in the majors, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's really weird because we know these guys can hit. They've shown us. And yet that's, sometimes you really can simplify it and make it simple. They got to hit better with the runners in scoring position. And just to put a point on this, because I actually wanted to see who's doing well and who's not. And the best guys at hitting with runners in scoring position are in order. If you look at the 5 best OPS, you've got Arenado. I'll just give you. These are all really good. You don't need me to read the numbers. The 4 best guys hitting with runners in scoring position with really good numbers are Arenado, Walker, Goldschmidt, and Gorman. They all have an OPS of 800 or higher. Now the worst, small sample and all that, the worst with runners in scoring position so far, Tommy Edman doesn't have a hit. He's batting 0-0-0, which means he's also got a 0-0-0 OPS. Brendan Donovan, 125 average, 325 OPS. Tyler O'Neill, 125 average. Alec Burleson, a 167 average. But he did a little damage. And Willson Contreras actually is batting 200 with runners in scoring position, which is better than his overall average. And I'm not saying that's good. But I'm just identifying there's 4 guys doing really good. There's 5 guys not doing well with runners in scoring position. So they have the people to get it done. They got enough. And I'm sure that, these people will pick up their numbers, the ones that I mentioned that aren't doing well. I'm sure they'll pick up those numbers because they're better hitters than that.
Oh, without a doubt. We have a text that just came in. It says, Bernie, if Nootbaar gets in the lineup or is back tomorrow, who sits? Because they're going to want to play him.
I don't know. Carlson? I'm assuming that when Nootbaar, whenever that is reactivated, Yepes won't be around, at least not for a while. But I'm trying to remember who the Pirates are even starting. But let's not get bogged down in that. If it's a left-hander, you're probably going to have, at any point soon. If it's a left-handed starter, you're probably going to have Carlson in there because that's the spot for him. He's got great numbers against lefties. But they seem determined to stick with O'Neill. And by the way, Tyler O'Neill's last 5-6 games has been good. So I don't see any reason to say, I better get him on the bench. Not when he's been heating up. Now, he didn't have a good game last night, but who the hell did?
It was amazingly awful to watch them take it back.
If it's a right-handed pitcher, I think they'll find
going to be Contreras, so it'll be a right-hander, yeah.
Yes, I would think but I'm not aware that Nootbaar will be activated tomorrow. Maybe he will be. If it's a right-hander, Burleson will be in there. If it's a right-hander, Nootbaar will be in there. And then it's O'Neill or Walker. So, but again, who the hell knows what's in Ollie's mind?
It's been hard to figure him out a little bit this year.
I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say, well, it's got to be O'Neill, Burleson, and Nootbaar. Keep Walker on the bench. No, I'm not in favor of that at all. But I also think that there are times when they can back off Walker a little bit. I mean, listen, man. I think we're entering this little phase where is it okay to tell the truth about him sometime because he is 20 years old. And it's not really supposed to be easy, and he has shown some signs of, it's going to become more and more of a challenge, and they're starting to pitch him different. And, he's got a really high ground ball rate, and there's been a lot of swing and miss. And he has, which one thing that surprises me, even though he's just a, quote, kid in the major leagues, he's really chasing a lot of pitches more and more out of the strike zone, and then he doesn't walk. So now some people hear that and they think, oh, man, can you believe he's ripping Walker? I'm not ripping Walker. I'm talking about, and Ben Clemens did a very thoughtful piece at Fangraphs. You've heard him on the show many times about Jordan Walker. And Ben Clemens is objective, but he's also a passionate Cardinals fan. And he was pointing some things out. There's some holes in his game still, but didn't we anticipate that? There's going to be things he has to improve on, and I'm sure that he will, or I'm confident that he will. But, this idea, listen, you cannot leave Walker on the bench for a long period of time. But the idea that if he's not in the lineup like 2 days in a row, it's okay. It's all right.
Yeah, that's not an issue. It shouldn't be an issue, let's put it that way.
No. So, I'm sure we're going to be talking about this early next week, and, I'll probably be writing something about it too, if indeed Nootbaar is activated, this weekend or maybe Monday, because that's when the tough decisions have to be made, right?
Oh, absolutely. I think the texter asked a question that, well, we'll wait and see, but
yeah,
odds are I would think Yepes is the guy that goes back down, even though
it's got to be.
Yeah. And Nootbaar's
I can't imagine, why he wouldn't be, and it's no offense to him.
Oh, right. That's if he would have hit better in spring training, he'd be getting more opportunities out of the gates, and he would have been here by now, or to start the season, and then he'd be established. But he's not.
Yeah, he didn't get the memo on that. They were serious about it was going to be a competition.
Yeah, and Burleson has run with his opportunity.
He has, and Yepes, and in spring training, the games I saw, he was trying to hit, He's swinging the bat in Jupiter, and he was trying to hit the ball to Mars every time he took a swing. He's just really being dumb at the plate.
Yeah. Needs a little lesson.